Welcome back everybody to Invested Intelligence. Before I get into the charts, Bitcoin, Binance, all the usual stuff, I just want to quickly show you the 5 positions that I've got open on this investing experiment that I've got going on. It's $1,000. We're going to be, effectively trying to turn it into something a little bit more meaningful. But the idea here is not to give financial advice. I don't want anybody following along. I want to show what investing is supposed to be like, practical investing. I'm not saying this is the right way, but this is one way which I feel is going to show practical, simple, effective investing. And also in the process of doing this, it's going to teach you a little bit of, how to DCA, how to think about the math of investing, how to think about, your add points, whether you should be in or out of something, and ultimately, over time, I'm hoping that this is going to show, that investing can be calm, and effective as opposed to, emotional and really stressful. So with that said, let's go over to the charts. Bitcoin still holding pretty well. This is our standard chart here. And if we just go up to the weekly chart, I'll show you. We can see that Bitcoin's basically staved off. We've had a nice impulse. We know about this now. Last week was very, very muted. We almost hit 30K. Very, very close to hitting 30K. And then obviously we're just slowing down a little bit here. It is possible that we pull back a little bit, but ultimately I'm not expecting too much movement because I think there's so much going on in terms of news, in terms of what could potentially be happening, that I think Bitcoin now is effectively waiting. There is a lot of rhetoric online, YouTube and all of these other places, Twitter and so on. People are trying to force people to FOMO into Bitcoin. But if we just take a step back and just put that to one side, Bitcoin will go when it's ready to go. And ultimately, I actually read a tweet recently saying if Bitcoin, breaks 28K, it's bullish. If it goes below 27,500, then it's bearish. This is ridiculous. I mean, these types of tweets, get people into a lot of trouble, especially if you follow it. And to be honest, as I was reading the comments on this tweet, I was very, very surprised, that there's a lot of intelligent people out there in terms of investing, and they're just, they don't just accept blindly what they're reading. But for those that do, this message is for you. If Bitcoin breaks 28, which it already did, it isn't bullish. And if it breaks 27,500, it isn't bearish either. For us to continue to the upside, Bitcoin really needs to break 30K and really start to go. And then even then, it needs to hold that level, maintain up in these, in these areas, 30 to 32, 33,000, and go for that secondary or third impulse to the upside. Just breaking 28K doesn't do anything. And like I said, we've already broken that anyway. We came very close to hitting 30,000. It is a huge psychological number. There's a lot of liquidity up here. So if it does hit that, I would expect there to be, a little bit of a reaction, some sensitivity there anyway. So bear that in mind. And even if we break 27.5, that doesn't automatically mean we're bearish. For us to be bearish, or I say bearish, I believe we're still, we're still in a downtrend. But for us to really start to see some movement to the downside, this weekly candle needs to be reversed. That's it. And that's all the way down at sort of 22,322. Yeah, so 22 to 23,000. If we get anywhere near this, then I would expect some continuation to the downside to take out this low, and basically break sub 20. But until any of these things happen, we're effectively going sideways, and we're waiting for the market, to absorb whatever news is coming regarding financial crisis and all of this other stuff that's happening in the world at the moment. With Binance, still within this consolidation, it is looking like we're going to get that secondary pop to the upside. 360 is looking like it's on the cards. If we just drop down to the daily chart, you can see we're just holding up in this area. We've already had a pullback on Binance, and it is looking like we could get that secondary pop. If that happens, I think we will break 350 and start to drive towards 360. But even then, there's a level up here that we need to pay attention to, which is just here, and that is between 355 and around about 360, 361. This area, I would expect there to be a little bit of price sensitivity. It would take something pretty spectacular to really, really go and start to drive towards those sort of 380s, 390s, and possibly 400. So bear that in mind, and definitely something we should be keeping an eye on. And with that said, I'll just quickly run you through the positions that I've got open. So obviously I have a Bitcoin position open, and I was saying that I don't want to be thinking about doing anything with Bitcoin at this point. With the $50 that we've put in so far, we've got $750 left. So we want to use our money very effectively. Don't want to be adding to the position or doing anything with the position until it gets at least to 24,000, and then we'll assess whether or not it's worth potentially adding to the position, depending on whatever reaction we get down there. Now, if it rips from here, that's fine. We'll just basically wait for another spot to add once we've seen stability and we've seen, price showing an affinity to want to keep going higher. So that's Bitcoin. Binance pretty much the same. I would want to see at least 300 to around about, say, 270 to 300, somewhere here. So if Binance really starts to come down, maybe I'll think about picking up some more Binance here and adding to the position. But again, we're doing it with $1,000. $1,000 isn't a huge amount of money, but if you space it out and you're very, very careful with how you're using it, it is possible to build a pretty strong portfolio. And as we cycle through, the ones that aren't really working, we get rid of those. We kind of liquidate those. And then put that money to good use elsewhere. I will take advantage of some of the services that Swissborg offers as well, in terms of yielding and getting a little bit of smart yield or earn. But for now, I just want to start to build a portfolio of tokens that I feel, could potentially yield good results, and then we can start to look at, potentially taking advantage of some of these Swissborg services. Polkadot, again, we purchased roughly around about where we are now currently. If I just go up to the weekly chart just to show you, this has been going down for quite some time. I wouldn't really want to touch this until at least $5, between five. How can I say? Let me just zoom out a little bit and bring this up. So I'd want to see price at least bare minimum 560, but ultimately anywhere around this area, I'll start paying attention to potentially add, to the dot position. Polkadot, I can't even say it properly. Anyway, dot position. But until it does that, then there's nothing I'm going to do with this. Again, it's just another position that we've got open now within the portfolio. If it rips from here, fantastic, great. We're up. And that's the thing. I'm not interested in FOMOing in. I'm trying to be clever. This is about simple, effective, and practical investing. So that's dot. We've also got a SHIB position open. For those that don't really know much about SHIB, it's effectively a meme token. This could go either way at this point. This was a position that we opened. Could rip to the upside, could rip to the downside, but ultimately, I'm not looking to do anything with this. I was explaining in the recent podcast. I'm just going to kind of let this do its thing. It's more of an experiment really than it is anything else. And then today I added to the portfolio with XRP. So basically just grabbed a bit of XRP where this red line is, and I'm expecting basically a 7 or between 6 and 8% pop. I do think we'll get a little bit of a run here on XRP, and then I'm going to be watching this area very, very closely, as price starts to run, assuming it does. But it is looking like we're going to get that secondary impulse to the upside. So with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day. I'll keep you updated on the portfolio. I'll keep you updated on the markets. I wish everybody all the best. Ciao.